Happy Friday to everybody out there. This is On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You can catch the Sarda Heyman video stream on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. We even got Twitter on there now. So very excited about that. I am Jake Bakoven, and we are in studio with Erick Strickland, who's had a big announcement today. And without further ado, if you've missed it, I'll go ahead and give Strick the mic and let you unveil the announcement.
Well, it comes down to it like this. Have you remember The Shining?
Yeah.
The movie, right?
I like The Shining.
Yeah, it was kind of a wild little movie. It's a lot of things were happening where, Jack Nicholson was kind of on the hunt, had a little, love interest maybe, or somebody he was stalking. So and there was a scene where she happened to kind of try to hole herself into the bathroom, and
that's right. Yeah.
And she was in there, and he takes an axe to the door.
Yeah.
So that's metaphorically speaking, right? An axe is into a door. A door is something that is an entryway, an exit way, or some way to a portal or a block, whatever, right? Well, that's the door to the state of Nebraska that has just now been taking an axe to it. And then I stick my face in there and I say, "Here's Stricky."
Here's Stricky.
I'm going to be coming back to Lincoln, man.
He's coming home. That is awesome. We are very excited for that, which means you'll be in studio, being in around the Lincoln, the Omaha area. It's going to be awesome for young high school basketball. Just everything is going to be bettered, but most importantly, all that's great. But On the Block will be even better. So we're very excited about that. Did you have a chance? By the way, I know there were a lot of ex-Huskers in town. Did you bump into anybody or see anybody for the day-by-day ceremony?
No, because I got in. Obviously, we did the show. Then I was a little kind of jet lagged a little bit, and I think it kind of got a little bit late, and so I just ended up having a cigar with some of my riffing with Raph.
Oh, there you go.
Friends.
Yeah.
And AD and Chris. And so we just had a few cigars and talked a little bit and got a chance to meet and just kind of agree. I didn't get a chance to go because I just wasn't prepared and I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still hung out with some of the 90s Huskers. So basically still got the idea.
We talked about it, but we just didn't go to it.
Yeah. I still might, I'm thinking about going tomorrow night. I heard somewhere that they might put that show off the tomorrow night's show, but I think that's like $35-$40 to get in, but I'm very interested. We've been waiting for years. I've been kind of upset as a Husker football nation, as a fan base, that the 30 for 30 never did one. I mean, it's just from 93 to 97, it's just a perfect story with all the twists and turns. I've seen off the text line somebody saying, that's because some of the stuff that's
off the field
more
stuff?
Difficult to talk about probably didn't get enough of the interviews or kind of that in order to maybe think that they would get the perfect 30 for 30 out of it. But I'm glad to see somebody saying, all right, well, if you're not going to do a 30 for 30, then we'll just do it. We'll make a great movie out of it because it's got all the plot twists. It's got all the intrigue to keep you going. It's going to be a 2-part series. I think this one is like 2.5 hours long. So I'm guessing total of like 5 hours that you're going to be able to go through the film and relive the days. And of course, for people that were around back then, and I was, but I was a kid, so I don't have great memories of it, but kind of go through your own feelings of how time was back then. And so just one of the more dominant 5-year stretches, probably the most dominant 5-year stretch in college football history. And yes, we live in the 90s. Yes, we are prideful of that time period because it was the peak. It was the pinnacle. It was the place to be. And it was awesome. So I definitely am interested in seeing that. We do have some Husker notes to get to as it's been a good day. Strick, you jumped in studio because, I mean, the biggest note is that Husker softball is going to be playing for a championship after their 2-1 victory over Ohio State today. So congratulations to Rhonda Revelle and the program there, waiting the Northwestern Michigan winner. We'll see how that kind of turns out. In Northwestern's a pretty darn good squad. Michigan, Nebraska has beaten this year in softball. So I guess for today, I'll cheer for Michigan a little bit there. But it's the same thing I kind of said with Nate there is it wouldn't be bad to see this team tested. Of course, you want to see them as far as they can go. But whether it's Oklahoma in a regional or taking on the best team, Northwestern, in the championship game, I would like to see them testing this, especially in softball and baseball. If you have a good pitching outfit, if you have in softball, more importantly, fielding, you can you could take one from one of the better teams if you get a few offensive runs. So it's single elimination. You don't have to be the better team. You just be the better team that day.
Yeah. And the thing was it was big plays, big timely hits, just situational stuff that they were able to do and overcome, and some tough, when I say big plays, I mean some tough plays that could have changed the dynamic of it. A nice hit into the gap that could have been caught, but it wasn't, and ends up preserving the win. So it was good, man. It's good to watch. I mean, this game with Michigan and Northwestern is getting started, and again, I think it comes down to pitching. It comes down to consistency. It comes down to not putting players on base in low out situations to allow them to be able to move runners and put you in scoring positions. It makes it tougher because then you've got to make certain types of pitches, and you just can't rely on your defense as much if you put yourself in the strain. So that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, good pitching, timely hitting, making sure there's no errors in situations like that, and you can win a game anytime.
Well, and it's just awesome for this weekend. If you don't have that planned out yet, you're gonna watch the softball championship game. As it's not often Huskers get to go for a Big Ten championship in any sport, and of course, it's also not too many teams across the Big Ten that are gonna see their team going for it. So we're excited to see that in East Lansing. Also, Husker baseball getting going tonight. Tonight's pitch set for 6:02 on ESPNU national TV audience. Of course, not quite as big as Sunday's national TV audience, set for a 2:00 pitch on ESPN2. They get on, I mean, that's really national TV. But either way, they're taking on Illinois. Illinois is tied for third in the Big Ten standings at 12-6, and on a 4-game winning streak. So they're doing pretty well. Also, over the last couple of days, pitcher Tyler Martin no longer on the team for the 19-27 Huskers. At this point, it's going to be tough for Nebraska. Obviously, I mean, you can't do anything. They came into the year with Big Ten title hopes. So short of turning things around here in the final 2 series and going to Omaha and winning the title, they're not going to be able to kind of live up to those expectations. But you never say it's over till it's over, right? And they've got a few series here. Maybe the national TV audience can kind of get them going. They didn't take care of Minnesota, who was at the bottom of the Big Ten standings, lost 2 out of 3 to them their last series out, which a lot of people kind of feel like, okay, that might be the end. But they still got a chance to get in the top 8 and go to Omaha.
That's crazy. I mean, really, the thing that you don't want to ever do is leave it in the hands of tiebreakers or leave it in the hands of referees, or you want to basically take advantage of situations when you can put it in your own hands. Winning that series would have went a long way to keeping it in your hands instead of putting it in the hands of somebody else for them to fumble it or to drop it or to, in some form basically give it to you. I mean, we saw that in the football in the NFL football playoffs last year, where there were at least 15 scenarios that could have went down towards the end.
All close games.
It was crazy, right? Just so many things had to happen for a lot of teams for somebody to be able to get in, and teams like Indianapolis who had it in their in their hands
to get in the playoffs.
They dropped the ball, which then opened the door for multiple teams to get in.
I got rid of Carson Wentz because of it.
Man,
there's no other way of reading that scenario. Yeah, it was. Other Husker news and notes. Let's go to Husker football recruiting, as I know we're all interested in what's going on there. Over the last couple of days, Nebraska offered JUCO defensive lineman Taylor Lewis that he'll set to announce at the end of May. He's going to take a few visits first. Nebraska, he said, is near the top. He has Missouri, Oregon State, Louisiana Tech also have offered. So obviously Nebraska looking for a little bit more help on the line. Big time visitors this weekend from Alabama, not just the state of Alabama, from the Crimson Tide, from that program. Stephen Wynn, a defensive tackle, still has 2 years of eligibility. 6'4", 307-pounder, saw action in 7 games for the Crimson Tide last season.
We need that.
Be huge, yeah.
We need that. that right there would be a great filler. From what we've been able to acquire out of the portal just most recently. That would be something to land that. I mean, if I'm Husker faithful, or if I'm anybody associated with the defensive line, working on the defensive line, in the program, outside of the program. If I'm Dominican Sue, I'm calling Sue and saying, we need you on the phone. I mean, that's why it's important to really maintain these types of relationships, right? I mean, I don't know if that could be a compliance issue, possibly calling Sue for, I don't know why. But
I don't think so. But maybe, yeah, I don't know.
But nonetheless, I'm pulling out all stops to land. Not necessarily because he is like Indomitian Sue. We don't know that. He could be. Yeah. But I'm doing it because of where he's the pedigree, the training, the lessons learned from that program and what they teach and the way that they teach and the expectations of what they want out of their players. That's the type of character you want in your front line. Whether he dominates or doesn't, that's the type of personality who has been in that type of program you want in yours. I mean, the jailbird programs and all the other crazy stuff that goes in other programs where they just allow you to do whatever, however, whenever, and no class. But listen, Saban, I know, runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
All the way through his coaching staff, even to his players, it's what's expected. You had top 5-star receivers that left because they weren't able to do and get away and be the kind of who they wanted to be. But the awesome thing about Saban is, rumor has it allegedly that he gave multiple opportunities. So he's not just a guy who's going to take a hard stance and basically just throw you to the wind and hope you make it. He could do that because he knows he's got others coming behind you, but he's also one that gives multiple opportunities. And maybe this young man is just, seeing what these multiple opportunities of guys coming in, and he really wants to try to go and shine somewhere where there's an opening. It could be.
Yeah, it sounds like he's, as far as, he's running toward the end of his career. He's been with the Crimson Tide for quite some time. So that strength and conditioning, being in that program, fighting against offensive linemen of that caliber, all that stuff is going to set him up well at his next stop, which you hope is Nebraska. And he doesn't necessarily have the starting resume that maybe, or I guess the all Big 12 resume that O'Shawn Mathis does, the starting resume that Devin Drew does. But you talk about, if you can add an Alabama transfer, we're always talking about SEC defensive lineman, an SEC defensive lineman, a guy with starting experience in Devin Drew and O'Shawn Mathis, who's led the Big 12 in sacks before. It's crazy how much, and I'll really have to applaud, because I'll admit it, when Casey Rogers announced that he was leaving, it was like, I was pretty close to the skies falling on that defensive line unit. And it's not just the defensive line unit, that extends to the team. I mean, you need to be in the Big Ten, you need to be good up front. If they can turn it around like that, that's quite impressive. Even if they can get Taylor Lewis, I mean, that's coming from the JUCO ball, that'd be nice too. But I mean, I think Stephen Wynn probably the bigger target on the board there. And we'll see. I mean, but he's also got bringing an Alabama friend with him. I don't know if they're traveling together, but in any case, defensive back Kane Williams, who's a younger man, hasn't played too much for Alabama. I think he played in a game on special teams last year, but still, I mean, we got an Alabama scholarship. Wants to go and try his shot somewhere else. Maybe with these guys, sometimes just one of it's that the depth is ridiculous. You're probably fighting with top 4 round draft picks if you're trying to get a spot on that line. I mean, but there's also the other thing is, if you just kind of feel like you're getting looked over, you have it would be hard to see. We talk about guys entering the transfer portal and getting lost. I don't know if Alabama guys have that trouble as much, because I mean that says quite a bit about something about you if Nick Saban sees enough in you that he's going to give you a scholarship. Well,
not even that, Buck. The man has played.
Yeah.
So I mean, he saw action in 7 games. We don't know. We could go back and track it, but we don't know if that was in a Georgia game. We don't know if that was in a blowout game. We don't know if that. I mean, to be honest, if I remember correctly, Alabama had some great games, a few blowouts in their non-conference, but I don't think in conference they just blew people to the wind. Maybe a couple of games, I think, but most of them were kind of.
They were actually. It was crazy because last year people were putting heat on that Alabama team. Like locally, they were getting a lot of it because they weren't covering the spread, or they weren't they were used to winning by the end of the third quarter and not having to worry about it going in the fourth quarter. They were getting heat locally for having too many close games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Except for they were winning them, the opposite of Nebraska, right? We were mad about the close games and the losses.
Right.
Alabama's so spoiled at this point, they're like, we don't want to win by 6 anymore.
We want to win by 60.
Yeah. So, to be you, I suppose. But Nebraska was at one point in time kind of interesting. Also, some other news and notes that I have. Jeff Brom, of course, the popular Purdue coach who kind of resurrected his career, I suppose, last year at Purdue. Remember, he was hot his first few years into Purdue. They had Rondale Moore. They got that big Ohio State upset. He was a hot name, and he kind of passed over the Louisville job. Well, he's a big name in Louisville. He has had some time there in high school and in college, and he was there on I believe it was like a high school alumni association event. And this is what he said. Not necessarily good news for Purdue fans. He said, after being at Purdue 2 years when it came open, that was a tough call. To be quite honest, though my schooling and how I was raised, I believe in at least trying to do the right thing and having morals and values. So in talking about sticking with Purdue and not leaving after a few years and going to the Louisville job. They said, but obviously we're on year 6 now. I love this town, this area. I'm an alumni of Louisville, so anything can happen in the future. Why say that if you're Jeff Brom? Maybe he's trying to get more money out of the deal one way or the other, but
that is an option.
That's not a good thing to say. That's not what you want to hear if you're a Purdue fan. I don't think Nebraska fans would love to hear Scott Frost stopping off at Stanford or wherever and saying, yeah, I love this school. I'd love to be back at some point.
That is an option. And that is one to consider. And that does work sometimes when you kind of show that there's an openness and a willingness for you to walk out the door. But let's be real. And that's what we do on the block. We keep it real on the block. We'll rap to you, speak to you, talk to you, maybe throw a jab at you if you
keep it real.
We keep it real. But not only is the academics tough in entrance for Purdue, very strong academic school. And I think that's where, the likes of like Jerry Stackhouse's and those or others in certain schools that they're at, they have some toughness.
Struggle getting recruits,
because just some of the requirements that are there. I think Purdue is one of those. But another thing with Purdue that they're struggling with is the facilities. They're a little behind.
Yeah.
They're a little behind on stadium. They're a little behind probably in locker room and weight room stuff. I mean, they have it, but it's not to the tone that some other big schools in the Big Ten have or around the country.
Right.
So when you're looking at those types of things and the pressures that come with being in the Big Ten, and you're looking at it, you're assessing it, you're seeing all of these tough things that you're having to deal with that are kind of still behind. Now that you're at year 6, how much longer? And again, this is alleged. This is only speculation, just kind of looking at how I would view this as a potential coach. Plus, Louisville is in a conference that is not as difficult right now to have to fight, right?
At least, going up against the ACC defenses.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So you have that. You have a perennial receiving type of core. You usually bring a nice little quarterback in. You don't have to worry as much defensively that you would if you're at Purdue, right? You don't have to recruit the same way with heaviness and that front line type of core that you need in the Big Ten. In the ACC, you just got to be, quick, fast, different types of crew that you recruit. So that's the types of things that I'm thinking about him as when he's weighing that out. And plus, he's an alumnus.
Yeah.
And, we would feel no different with Scott or anybody like that who is looking at their alma maters. And a lot of coaches do.
They look that's always the fear.
It's the place that they would love to get to if it opens and it makes a way. But I love the fact that he said, I love dealing with integrity. I love dealing with morals. And it would be kind of D-ish, like D-I-ish to just kind of come in there and stop the ground and get the heck out of there once the opportunity presented itself. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the coaching staff, and it's not fair to the fans as well as the school or the recruits that would be coming in. It's not fair.
When you just think of his coaching style, obviously, whenever we talk about the tough nose running, three clouds of dust style of the Big Ten West. Purdue's the outlier. Purdue's the pass-happy team that's fine, really, without a running back on the roster. I mean, they run once in a while, but so that would make more sense in the ACC. And similar to Scott Frost, he's had his success and had a really good year last year, but maybe the whole idea of coming in and taking over with that offensive philosophy hasn't gone quite the way he expected it to. So we'll see. I know. Jeff Brom's got that Purdue pro. I mean, when I look at the schedule, I'm not overlooking Purdue. There's been years past, especially when, since Nebraska's joined the Big Ten, where Purdue was at the very bottom of the Big Ten West and in the Big Ten altogether. And they're not there anymore. I mean, they're well respected with their 9 wins last year, including a victory over Nebraska. Let's take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler, and let's talk a little more sports next. We don't exactly have it nailed down. We're going to see if we can get an interview here. If not, we'll talk a little bit more about Iowa athletic directors suggesting ending immediate transfer eligibility to curb the Wild West of NIL deals. Do we think that would be a good way to go? We'll talk about that next year on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Naloxone is a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose and is now more readily available in Nebraska. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. I encourage you to learn how to respond to an opioid overdose and administer naloxone to potentially save a life by getting the free Opie Rescue app for your phone. Be Opie ready. Download Opie Rescue.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, some early clouds will give way to sunny skies this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 81. Tonight, clear skies and calm winds with the low near 52. And tomorrow, sunny skies and light winds return tomorrow. We'll see a high of around 84. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagee sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
Spring has arrived. Dust off your clubs and play the city. Lincoln City Golf Courses offer 5 different places to play, including Holmes, Pioneers, Highlands, Mahoney, and the par 3 Jim Ager course. Plus, one membership gets you access to all 5 courses, or ask about a discount card that gets you 15% off all rounds. There's also adult classes with lessons for every level with Lincoln City Golf Academy. Learn more about membership and classes today at lincolncitygolf.org.
Spring is here. Are you giving your yard the best chance at being healthy and green? Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn to get your sprinklers ready to go for the season if they haven't been working properly. They're also scheduling installs for new sprinkler systems if you don't have one. So make sure you contact them early to get a bid as soon as possible. Plus, they're your one place to go for 5-step fertilizer and pesticide application and lawn aeration. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back on the block. E. Strick and Jake Bachman on the block with Strick and Bach. We thank you again for joining us on the Ticket at 93.7 FM, theticketfm.com. We have a special guest today on the block on this Friday. My teammate. I was an old school fella. I was an OG. He was a young fella coming in, red shirt. But he was a lefty like E. Stricky, 6'5". We share a lot of things in common. He also is out of Alabama, like E. Stricky, right down the road. I was born in Opelika, and he was born in Phoenix City, where he is right now. He resides. The great left-handed guard, number 5, Larry Florence is joining us on the block today. Larry, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening, man? What's going on, man?
Doing good, man. Listen, it's always good to hear from you, man. We got a lot to discuss, man, a lot going on, but so little time to ultimately get into it. But just some of your accolades, man, is just in itself is phenomenal, man. Being an honorable mention in the not the Big 8, you happen to be one of the ones that joined the Big 12.
Big 12.
Yeah, so in 2000 there, you were also a captain. But some awesome things about yourself as well is that you were a Husker Male Athlete of the Year. 3-time men's basketball lifter of the year. So that just shows that you have strength, you have resilience, you have a fortitude, so to speak, and all those things, right? You were one of players to go into 4 national tournaments and 2 NITs, a 98 NCAA tournament, as well as you spent some time with us in the 96 NIT championship. And so, that's one of the things. And then before we get going, also, I just want to share that you're in the top 15 in scoring. You've had 105 starts that rank second all time, only to Dave Hoppin. That in itself is phenomenal. Dave Hoppin is one of the legends here. He's up in the rafters, and that alone just shows that you're a class act. You came in, you trusted the program with your talent and your ability. And so, how you been doing, man? You're doing some wonderful things now. Also, you're trying to stay the course and doing some things and teaching the next gen. And we'll get into some of that. But tell us how you're doing, man. What you been up to lately?
Lately, I've been just taking day by day, enjoying each step of the way. And really just trying to get my health back together. I've been going through a lot as far as health-wise, but, other than that, I've just been trying to stay on course with what I've been doing as far as being a mentor and doing my coaching thing with the kids as well. And each week, we basically going to have 2 to 3 days where we have a group of kids come in, we work with them, and, sometimes we allow them to play depending on if they showing us what, we're looking for, so that's basically the things that I've been doing, spending a lot of time with my family and, my friends. I've been back home for quite a while now, so I had got, used to the environment. And I ended up going back to my old high school, and I ended up working there for 8.5 years as a I started off as the assistant coach on the varsity with the guy that that even coached me and many others. So that was a blessing to have him, above me and continue to teach me. So I did. I coached with him for 3 years, and after that, I wanted to be able to have my own voice. And I asked him, would I be able to have my own team? And I started off with the junior varsity. I did that for a couple years. We had some awesome seasons, some great kids. And after that, I went down to the 9th grade. Coached 9th grade for 2.5 years, basically. And then after that, I went to the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got to the 7th grade, I felt like that
was your zone? That was your zone?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I need to be at.
Right.
Yeah, but I pretty much was, just coaching, doing a lot of coaching and a lot of, training with the kids in my, in my neighborhood as well, because I'm in Georgia, right next door to us. But spending a lot of time doing that. But, with my transition into this new life that I'm living, I've been having to set that. But right now, I'm just trying to, like you say, get back into what I love to do.
Yeah.
But
that's good, man. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to get back into full-time coaching. That would be my ultimate goal right now.
That's what's up, man. Larry, you had a chance to come in just in light of some stuff, and you got here. You redshirted when you first got here, and so you got a chance to face us in practice quite often, and you were a tough cookie even back then. But one of the things that you taught Stricky, and I used to watch you do what we call the run by dunk.
Yeah.
And I said, Larry, you need to teach me that. I need that in my life. It was the smoothest looking thing. I just was like, that looks so smooth. I'm a power guy. I was like, if I'm trying to put you in the rim, but I was like, Larry, look cool doing that. I need to look cool when I run by.
You know where that dunk came from?
Talk to me.
Ron Mercer.
Ah, okay. I played with Ron in Indiana. Yeah.
Yes. Played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
But yes, my first time leaving Phoenix City, which is, a small town. I think at that time we had like 12,000 people in my city. But it was my first time going into some big time competition, and we went to Tennessee. And that's
where he's from. Yeah.
And
Nashville.
We had opportunities to play them. And me, where I'm from, my height, we got to automatically go in the post. So I wasn't used to being on the wing and, handling the ball, doing those type of things. So I wasn't able to guard him. But I seen Ron Marshall, we played him straight, man. I had never seen a guy run the floor so smooth and so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he get it on the break, first thing he do was that hook dunk. I'm like, oh my God. So, after that, man, I came home after, watching him play, and who was that? Kevin Garnett was also there as well. So I had never seen this type of talent before with guys being 6'7", 16,
Mm-hmm.
So I came home and I was like, man, I'm gonna make that my dunk. So I just started practicing it, and after a while it became easy to me, and then it became my staple dunking in high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where that came from.
Got you.
Larry, this is Jake Bakoven here, Erick Strickland's partner on the radio. Not too bad. It's good to hear from you. I wanted to ask you because, it's a little bit different than how we see Nebraska basketball now as to as it was in the 90s, partially, Strick and Pike and Tron Lue and Danny Nee, all the things that they kind of put together. What brought you to Nebraska? I mean, ultimately, what made you decide to come and be a Husker?
Oh, man, that's quick story, long story short. Coach Nee and Coach Jimmy Williams was in our area, and they were recruiting a guy that was 6'9". His name was Jonas Say, and he was like one of my rivalries growing up from the 7th grade all the way through high school. And they were actually recruiting him, and they came to one big game we had, and it was sold out. Everybody was there, and Coach me and Coach Williams was at the game, and so they seen me play that game, and I had an awesome game. You know, I had quite a few nice dunks, and it just went from there. After that game, the next thing I know, they were at Central High School like the next day, and that started the recruiting process. And once, you know, I showed them that I was interested, it just went from there. And I started looking. I said, Nebraska, ain't nobody in Nebraska. But I started looking at the you know, the history and started looking back at things. And then I was like, wow, I was looking at Strick, first guy that caught my eye, because I'm like, this man is unbelievable. He's fast, he's strong. I'm like, how is he this flexible with that much muscle? And he had JB out there, and you know, I was like, okay, this is a place that I would love to go to. I wouldn't mind going to. And that what really started my process. And then Coach Nee and Coach Williams, you know, told me that, you know, everything was going to be okay. I was going to make sure that I got my education, and I was going to graduate with a degree. And, you know, I just had to come up there and put in the work. And once I went on a recruiting trip, but they asked Mikey Moore, they actually fooled me.
Oh yeah, the Zoolander.
We went to the O. So I was like, oh my God, this is it.
Mike snuck you up to the O. Oh, he probably took you to Parthenon. He probably snuck you in the Parthenon.
It's cool right here. I can come here. There. You know, it just went from there.
Mikey snuck you into the Parthenon, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, listeners, if you know, you know. Parthenon was the Spiz Naive back in the day. That was the spot. But yeah, so listen, man, you know, before we let you go, we definitely want to bring some light to this, is that you're fighting a good fight right now, man. You know, like I said, you were resilient, man. You were a power lifter for the university. I mean, when we talk about Husker power, you were that. And so now you're having to exude that power in another way internally. And it's not easy, the fight that you're having to fight. I mean, I remember the last time you were going to come on the show, and it's just one of these things. And we want to shed light on this because we have listeners that in whatever way that they may be fighting, it may not be the same thing you're fighting. It could be breast, it could be lungs, it could be testicular, whatever. It still sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's something that just absolutely sucks that you must battle. But we're here to support you here on The Ticket, theticketfm.com, man. We love you. You're a Husker. You're for life. You're my brother. We had a wonderful conversation a couple days ago, man. And I know that's just good for you, just to have that every now and then, just to bring light to you.
Oh, my God. It is.
So tell us about that, man, what it is that you're facing and how you're fighting.
I am battling multiple myeloma, which is a cancer of the plasma cell within the bone, right? So it really is not a cure for it, but they, in the last 5 or 6 years, they have come up with all kind of ways to continue this process. You know, prior to me having this was a disease that men with ages of 60 on up was normally the ones who will get this disease, right? So it was weird for me to experience it, because once I did my history, you know, at that time, it was only, I think, maybe 72,000 that was dealing with multiple myeloma at that time, if my numbers are right. And what it does, man, it attacks your bones. You know, so my bones are brittle, and, you know, I have lost a lot of teeth, you know, during this process, and over again with the chemo. I've been on 5 different chemo treatments, and I've been on 1 trial. So I think I've made over 200 trips to Atlanta since 2016. You know, going back and forth, because in my area, they didn't have any specialists that knew about multiple myeloma. You know, and right now it's already predicted that this year alone, it's going to be 32,000 new cases of multiple myeloma. Yes. And this number has been growing each year that I've been battling, this process. But it's what I can tell people who is going through things in life, you have to continue to push. You have to continue to believe in God and believe in, that everything's going to be all right throughout the process. Yes, I have bad days. I was just at the hospital the last 2 days. I've been back and forth to Atlanta the last 2 days, But I've learned to cope with it. At one time, I was so down. I was mentally drained because I kept asking, why this, why me, why I got to go through this, why I got to have a cancer that has no cure, or I was beating myself up mentally, and what it was doing, it was making me sick. And once I started to realize that, hey, man, I have to face it. I have to deal with it, head on. And once I started thinking that and started feeling positive and thinking about the accomplishment of coming from Phoenix City, Alabama to the University of Nebraska and just even finishing through alone was amazing.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to accomplish the thing that I did, that allowed me right now to have the power to know that, hey, if I can win Athlete of the Year at the University of Nebraska with some of the best players ever, I know I can fight this. And even though I know I have bad days, I take it, I rest. I just try to stay hydrated, but I relax. I don't try to beat myself up mentally and deal with it. I just go ahead and relax and listen to my body. It's been, back and forth with me.
Yeah.
I've been to the hospital, 3 months ago. I had 3 back surgeries. And that's because of the multiple myeloma had spots in my back, from it being so aggressive. And that's been a problem with me, a lot of back pain as far as myeloma deal with back pain, weakness, fatigue, lack of appetite, a lot of things that goes along with it. But each case is sort of kind of different, each individual. But I would just encourage people to live life, love your family, love your kids, enjoy things. Don't just feel like you got to work, and then later on you're going to enjoy life. No, enjoy life each day, each week. Be thankful, be happy. Enjoy your loved ones. You know what I mean? Tell people that you love them.
Yeah.
Don't wait. If you got a friend you haven't talked to in a while, call them. Talk to them. Just ease things up. But the main thing is just stay intact with who you are and where you want to go. And, you're going to get your blessings through that.
That's awesome, Larry. Tell us real quick about the program here through Nebraska that has kind of been also helping you with that, because we want to be able to shed light as well.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
so share that information as well.
The Nebraska Great Foundation.
Nebraska Great Foundation. That is a program for former Huskers of any sort.
Yeah. Oh,
men's
not
basketball.
even just Huskers. Creighton, anybody, Iowa, anywhere around. That's how big it's grown over the last 8 years.
So this program basically just helps former athletes in the region now. So it's expanded. It's not. It's outside. It's Iowa. It's Creighton. It's Kearney. It really just helps former athletes that may be dealing with financial hardship, not necessarily only financial hardship, but just also just health issues and problems, and helps them to get the right type of treatments.
I know.
And to be able to face those
I
battles.
wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the Nebraska Great Foundation. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Those people are wonderful, man. I mean, they go top to bottom to try to make sure that you're secure, and anything that they can do, they're going to do it. And their word is bond, and I thank them all the time. That's why I have to make sure that I go back each year to show my appreciation for what they're doing, because I look around, there's not too many universities that really have this program set up, to help former athletes.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so great. That's why it's important. And I just appreciate them.
That's awesome, Larry. Hey, listen, Larry, we're here for you, man. We love you. We support you. Thank you for coming on the block and just sharing your story and just, reminiscing a little bit about the wonderful times that we were able to share together. as athletes, and some people just didn't know Stricky was kind of strong. I got a little, little gut now.
I can't believe that.
So yeah, man.
You wasn't great. You wasn't great for no reason, man. But I just want to thank you for setting the tone for me when I got there. You were the first person to guide me. When I got on campus, you didn't even look at it as this young guy coming in. No, you set the tone. You worked hard every day. You set the example. You was in the weight room faithfully. You know what I'm saying? You went hard. You didn't miss practices. You wasn't late. You understand? And just watching you, really helped me. So I really appreciate that because, as my history went, it was, basically I was compared to you.
Yeah.
So I had to, try to live up to that,
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate you and thank you, man. I appreciate everything that you've done, not even knowing.
Yes, sir. Well, we love you, Larry, man. We'll stay in touch, man. We'll touch you back up, man. Check in on you to see how things are going as well. Thanks for joining. That's Larry Florence joining us on the block today to talk Husker, reminisce again, and just to remember some of the glorious days in which he shared here with me as well as in his own right as a Husker legend. Again, we're going to take a break right now. We'll come back right after this, and we'll start what we got, Bach?
I think we got a shootout with Strick.
Oh, no. I'm tired of the shootout with Strick.
You can send Strick into the weekend 0-5 if you can get the win today. Give us a call, 402-464-5685. First one to do so, have a chance at $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on Shootout with Strick. That's coming up next here on the block.
Beatrice Bakery. They ship cakes all over the country. True story. But take a look inside their shop and you'd have no idea. This is a Nebraska product through and through. Not some massive production plant. Local people making delicious cake just for you. So go see them in their new storefront location in downtown Beatrice. Grab some grandma's fruit cake, some chocolate rum cake, or my favorite, the turtle nut cake. And say hi to Rick and the crew. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagee sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams. From treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at healthresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Erick Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It's time for Shootout with Strick here on the block. Strick is in studio. He's been studying the year 2005 is our year today. So that is where our trivia will be coming from.
I'm in the almanac. I've been in the almanac. I'm not losing. I can't.
You cannot lose today. It would be an 0-5 week for Strick. I don't know. I mean, I
don't think that's ever happened.
I don't think it's ever happened. It'd be a record for futility here. But we have Roger on the line on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Roger, how you doing today? Big 2005 guy.
I'm happy as heck. I took the day off. It's great.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
yeah,
beautiful day.
3-day weekend.
Yeah,
I can't do much better than that.
Off with.
The only thing that make it a little better is some free chicken. So we'll see if we can hook you up with that. But you're gonna have to earn it. You're gonna have to win, and you're gonna have to beat Strick here. So just hold on here, Roger. We'll get to you. First, we got to get to Strick's score. So Strick, are you ready to go?
Yes, let's get it.
All right, turn the music down a little bit so it doesn't blow your ears off, and go in 3, 2, and 1. She wins her second Australian title in January 2005. Maria Sharapova or Serena Williams?
Serena Williams.
That's correct. The popular alternative group is inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. U2 or Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters.
It's actually U2. The U.S. version of this comedy series premieres on NBC, The Office or Parks and Rec?
The Office.
That's correct. This Utah quarterback is taken the first overall pick in the NFL draft. David Carr or Alex Smith?
Smith.
That is correct. And the Spurs superstar wins his third Finals MVP.
Tim Duncan.
It's Tim Duncan. 5 points for Strick. If he's going to lose this week, it's going to be difficult for Roger to catch him as he relinquishes a scream there. 5 points and shootout with Strick. Roger, that's going to be difficult. Are you ready to go, Roger?
Strick was focused. There's no doubt.
He's focused.
Man, hey, listen, that donut for the week would have, but you still could get me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I had to get focused. Jay-Z said, I'm focused, man.
At least make it difficult. Are you ready to go, Roger?
Ready.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. This video platform is introduced for the first time in 2005. YouTube or Vimeo?
YouTube.
That's correct. This show premieres on the Disney Channel with Dylan and Cole Sprouse. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody or Zoe 101?
101.
It was actually Sweet Life. This single, We Belong Together, is released by this artist, Mariah Carey or Gwen Stefani?
Stefani.
It was actually Mariah Carey. He becomes the youngest driver to win NASCAR Cup Series race. Jeff Gordon or Kyle Busch?
Busch.
That is correct. And he wins the 2005 Heisman, but would have to forfeit it years later. Who is it?
3, 2, 1.
Bush.
It is Reggie Bush.
No.
It's all right,
Referee, no.
All right, Strick. He only got 4 points for that one. He only got 4 points, even if we include that one. So we'll go ahead and include it for Roger, but you didn't end up winning. But don't give up, Roger. Your 3-day weekend isn't ruined. You have just as much a chance as anybody else. Strick plays for the people. So, Roger, hang up now. And then caller number 3, including Roger, anybody, 402-464-5685. Caller number 3 will get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on behalf of Strick, who gets the win and does not finish 0 for 5 on the.
My heart was beating on that one. I was looking at the clock. I didn't care about nothing but the clock. I was like, clock. No, it was just like, remember the tip in just recently in the playoff game? And then what else just happened? There was another one that just happened. What was it last game? Who was that? Oh no, it was the tip in.
Yeah.
He had it in his finger.
Yeah, Horford.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Mike Melby jumping back in the studio. How you doing, Melby?
I am not running the clock for the ticket pickup charity basketball game that Strickland's playing in. That's all I'm saying.
He looks like he'll get up in your face for it.
Serious about that clock.
Scared me.
So there we go. Somebody wins $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. And
breathe it out. What did he used to say? Wax on, wax out, breathe.
There
in,
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did it. You did not go winless this week.
Finish him. Flawless victory.
So congratulations on your victory. And we move on into our next hour here. We'd like to do a little bit, it's Friday, so we're thinking about a couple Fridays from now. Well, maybe more than a couple Fridays from now. But later on this year, on a Friday, a Black Friday, will Scott Frost's job be on the line on Black Friday against Iowa? We'll talk about that next year on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, some early clouds will give way to sunny skies this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 81. Tonight, clear skies and calm winds with a low near 52. And tomorrow, sunny skies and light winds return tomorrow. We'll see a high of around 84. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Spring has arrived. Dust off your clubs and play the city. Lincoln City Golf Courses offer 5 different places to play, including Homes, Pioneers, Highlands, Mahoney, and the Par 3 Jim Ager course. Plus, one membership gets you access to all 5 courses, or ask about a discount card that gets you 15% off all rounds. There's also adult classes with lessons for every level with Lincoln City Golf Academy. Learn more about membership and classes today at lincolncitygolf.org.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Nelson. Isn't it a great feeling when a company has your budget in mind instead of trying to squeeze it all out of you? That's why Caterpillar Vapes has been voted a fan favorite among premium e-juice, CBD, and Delta 8 customers year after year. And now they're here in Lincoln. Returning customers are always enjoying weekly deals and perks, and new Caterpillar Vapes customers get 50% off their entire first purchase. A company that cares about their customers. Crazy, right? In a hurry? Try the drive-thru. Caterpillar Vapes, 2601 North 11th Street, and online at caterpillarvapes.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for 3. And you're going to go out of here as the
Big 8 tournament champion. 93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what's happened. Something's taking over the board.
I knew it.
Oh, there it is.
Crystal Lake. It's a Crystal Lake experience.
Oh man, that really gets your heartbeat going. You know what's expected next.
Hey, you can expect a guy with a Jason mask on the hunt, potentially for Herbie Husker, and the guy that's leading Herbie Husker's whole team, and that is Scott Frost.
Well, real quick, because it is Friday the 13th. Who would when you're a kid, you're scared of the dark. You just watch a scary movie. You run to your room. You're in your room, and then you hear something. It's under your bed. You're under the covers because for some reason monsters can't get you if you're under the covers. But you decide just to look under your bed, and there you see what would be scary. There you see Little Red, or there you see Herbie Husker. Which one's scarier?
I think the 1970s.
Oh
Herbie
yeah,
Husker,
yeah.
That one would
The long face.
the
Herbie.
long face with the bug eyes.
Oh yeah.
That one.
Oh the bug-eyed one. He was very scary.
That would have did it.
A lot of people think the scariest mascot is Purdue Pete. The Purdue one, he's got a pretty scary face. He doesn't,
He carries
a weapon as well, so he'd be pretty scary. I think as well.
We've seen the pickaxe action before. No, but seriously though, I mean, we're gonna talk about it, but at the end of the day, there's some questions to be asked about it. I mean, it's something that we have to consider, something we need to think about, and we want you to think about it as well on the Starter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. This is the question I'm going to throw out to Jake Bakoven, my partner in crime. But we're not committing those types of crimes.
But we don't commit crime.
I'm not wearing a ski mask. But listen, no, real talk before we get into that. The one that I love the most, and I just thought he was funny, was Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger.
Oh yeah, Freddy Krueger.
I thought Freddy was the coolest killer on earth, man. The way he did it to you, he was gonna shank you with them 4, finger discount.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, too, he would just do it in a cool way. So if you were gonna die by the hand of a killer, I think I'd want to go.
He'd
by
play
Freddy.
around with you, and those were scary too because there's only like so long. It'd get you when you fall asleep, obviously.
Right.
So there's only so long you can battle that.
Yeah. You can only take no dose for so long. You can only drink Red Bull. There's not enough Mountain Dew in the refrigerator. So
they don't. Yeah,
why don't
they have one of those where like some guy takes meth and then he can't, and then he won't fall asleep
for a week at least.
He's got his own problems to deal with, but at least Freddy's not getting to him.
Right. But then when he does get to you, then guess what they're going to blame it on? The meth.
Yeah, well, and as well should be. Meth is never the answer.
Never.
Even if Freddy Krueger is after you, meth is not the answer.
So here's a question, Jake. How likely is Scott Frost to make it? Will he last? Well, let's say this. Will his job be on the line on the chopping block on Black Friday?
I can see it.
One other thing about that. Black Friday is on my birthday.
Is it really?
So I'm not rooting for that because I don't want to have one of those sentimental moments where I'm just hurting because the football program went into the tank. So I would hope to be a joyous birthday Friday, but that's another thing to consider.
Yeah, it's just that's the opponent. I mean, that's what happens when you sign up for Black Friday. We've seen it in the past. It's the last game for a lot of former Husker coaches, Mike Riley, Bo Pelini, back when it was Colorado a little bit more, for Frank Solage and even Bill Callahan. I mean, it just goes down to that final game usually. Maybe the decision's been made, maybe it's not, but there's a pretty good chance that there'll be considerable pressure on Scott Frost to win that Black Friday game. I don't know. I never necessarily like that, right? Where it comes down to a one game scenario, and then are you judging the difference of your program, whether, let's just say Nebraska loses because some guy fumbles at the 5, if it's a close game. I don't know if you want to make your decision on a one game scenario, but the problem is the Iowa losses are adding up, right? The Wisconsin losses are adding up. So if Nebraska has, obviously going into that game is 5-6 and lost to Wisconsin and lost to Michigan, and you're not winning your big games, and you're, maybe you need to make that bowl game, or other people think the number could be something different. Maybe it is, maybe at that time you are 6-5. You already know that you're going to a bowl game, but the progress isn't enough. Still losing those games to Wisconsin and not being competitive in the Big Ten West and all that. It could come down to that Iowa game. As we sit here on Friday the 13th, you think about a Black Friday with a lot of pressure on it. Again, there's been these whispers before. There were for Bo Pelini. There were Frank Solage in the Colorado game for that Black Friday. I could see it happening once again, and hopefully it's not decided by then, right? If it's already decided by then things have gone off the rails and things are getting worse. And I also believe, and I've said this many times, if they would have waited last year to make their decision. Of course, they made the decision at 3-7. You still have games against Wisconsin and Iowa. Season wasn't going to be a success one way or the other, but I felt like, I understood why the university did it. You have to get in front of the coaching searches these days and all that stuff. I understand why they did it, but I always felt like if they would have waited until the final game to make their decision, and just the way Nebraska melted down against Iowa one final time, I'm not sure if Frost would be back.
I have an even better scenario for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's run it down. Saturday, August 27th, victory. Saturday, September 3rd, North Dakota, victory. Saturday, September 10th, victory, Georgia Southern. Saturday, September 17th, victory, Oklahoma. Saturday, October the 1st, victory, Indiana. Friday, October the 7th. Love that right there, by the way, a Friday night game on the road. Rutgers, victory. Saturday, October 15th at Purdue, victory. Saturday, October 29th, Illinois, victory. And then the last 4, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, all losses. What happens at that point?
Wow, that would be quite a run, right? You did start with your 8-run stretch. We'd all feel pretty high on ourselves. I think,
and you get Oklahoma, you get
a big win.
Okay, but then you lose the 4 to what you just said. Four, real quick.
Yeah.
Honda Lincoln Hotline or Sauter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. On that Black Friday with that scenario Stricky just laid out for you, is Scott Frost on the hot seat?
Let's run through some of these texts here. Somebody texts in says we're going to know long before Black Friday, so he believes that it won't come down to Black Friday. I'm just, the reason why I find this intriguing is I think there's a pretty good chance they'll have 5 or 6 wins going into that. Is that going to be enough? Is the fact that especially if you have a loss to Wisconsin, you got to eventually beat Wisconsin and Iowa. If you lose to both of them, whether you have 6 or 7 wins, is that enough? That's interesting. Spartan Steve chimes in, Bo Lever chimes in and says Solage was already decided. Stevie P was trash. He's talking about the Solage decision. He also said if he is winning games, all is good. With the new staff that have some long history in football, he shouldn't be in that position. So that's the hope there, is that they've made enough progress. Craig also says, yes, Frost's job will be on the line on Black Friday. His fate will have been decided several weeks earlier because he only has 3 to 4 wins going in. He expects the same dumb coaching mistakes that have been made all the seasons prior. So that's where he's also got a theory that some of the local personalities are leaving the newspaper, whatever jobs they have, because they don't want to write about this year. I'm not sure if that's the case, but so there's all different type of thoughts and feelings throughout the Husker fan base, and it's a lot of people, to their own credit, I guess, or to just have kind of already made up their mind because they've seen enough of the mistakes. Other people are completely buying in. We heard from caller Bob the other day, thinks they could go undefeated.
Bob the Builder.
I'm just somewhere in the middle. I don't expect a complete turnaround. I know the schedule is a little bit easier, like you said. I mean, if it could come down to, I think 8 will probably do enough, because I think then you have to have at least one quality victory in there.
But even with the consistency of losing the big ones to the rivals,
and part of it's going to be, how does it look, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're competing in those games, we don't want close anymore. But 8-4 with close losses,
so a 60
year.
to 14 to Wisconsin,
that might change the narrative.
I mean, because that's happened before, where they've literally drubbed us in some games. But I just don't think they have the team that they have had in the past. I don't think they got a quarterback to do it.
Yeah.
Unless it's just a total debacle on the front line where it's Gash City.
Braylon Allen's a heck of a young running back.
You know what I mean? So, and it can happen.
The ghost of Wisconsin running backs past has definitely hit Nebraska before.
Yes. So those are some of the things I think.
Yeah. Off of YouTube, Natural Born Husker says, or Natural Born Skur, I should say, says we have to win the first game. I think that has been his problem, is maybe overlooking some games. But yeah, I mean, that Northwestern game certainly is going to be difficult to head over to Ireland. It's probably one of the worst Power 5 teams, but Pat Fitzgerald has turned those things around before. Usually his 3-9 teams of the past haven't been as bad as last year's. I know, and that's kind of weird to say. We kind of have an understanding that, I think now that we've gone through it, that not all 3-9 teams are awful or built the same. Some have strengths, and then some don't. Some don't have anything to build off of. That Northwestern team, especially losing Brandon Joseph, their All-American safety, who transferred to Notre Dame, they've got an uphill battle. So I think, if Nebraska loses to Northwestern, I will say this. I think that you need to have a little bit of patience to let these new coaching staff kind of get it together. But I mean, if it looks like a disaster, and there's no other way they're going to lose to Northwestern without it looking like a disaster. The heat will be on for sure. I just hope that they don't give up on the season at that point in time, similar to what they did with Mike Riley. It was pretty obvious they did the same thing. We were all excited about the new defensive coordinator, Bob Diaco, former Broyles Award winner, coming in, and they gave him three games, and you could tell it wasn't going to go anywhere, right? And they lost to Northern Illinois, and basically a decision was made right after that to let go of the athletic director, which of course meant that that the writing was on the wall for Coach Riley. But I hope that there is at least a little bit of time. I almost want to give them one. We all just say that first half of the schedule minus Oklahoma is so easy. I'd give them room to lose another one, just because there's so much newness. You have a bunch of Band-Aids that you're plugging all over the roster. It might take some time to get in a midseason form.
I think here's where I think I would envision trouble. I mean, listen, the first game is always trouble. The problem will be, and I think the fandom will have an issue with it, if you have the same type of issues you had last year, meaning disciplinary issues on the line. You're false starting. You're dropping punts.
Special teams are.
I mean, I think if it looks very similar to that, there will be an issue. I think another problem would come into play if they lose to either North Dakota or Georgia Southern. I think that would be another issue. You can understand maybe dropping maybe a Rutgers game on the road or a Purdue game. You could probably see that. If you lose at home, so I think it's going to be kind of the way that it happens, not necessarily that it happens, but the way that it happens and to whom that it happens to. You could see it maybe happening out on the road, long trip, get out there, you start smelling the European air just a little bit differently, and then all of a sudden, you fall apart.
Yeah.
And you lose that one. But if you come back and it's one of those other two behind that one, now you start looking funny style at the program a little bit.
I think that is for certain. Scott Frost's seat is hot enough coming into the season that Georgia Southern or North Dakota will bury.
That would bury. That would be a bury.
Yeah.
And so that's why.
Fair enough. I mean, that's not the program heading in the right direction. All those that thing I just said about letting everybody gel and stuff. it's not to the point of losing to one of those teams at home.
But
that'll be it.
But Buck, here's what I do say though. It turns into that, right? But then I think if you get to that latter half and you have that, that little mark let me just say, little mark, you have a big mark and everybody's looking at you funny and you kind of weeble wobble into that 6th win, but you win those 4 last. So there's a lot of different scenarios that really could have you thinking and considering and looking at it with a different eye and with a different microscope or with a different, what are those things that you have? The hourglass.
There you go. Yeah. I don't
know. The things that you used to burn. You used to.
Oh yeah, burn those ants.
Yeah, you used to burn ants with. Yeah, I knew you used to do that.
Yeah.
So, but you look at it with a different, with a different lens.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the way different scenarios can happen. I don't think it's going to be a cookie cutter scenario that's going to have him on the Black Friday chopping block. That's the way I view it.
Yeah, I mean, I think barring disaster, which definitely could happen. But I think that barring disaster and barring just absolutely punching your ticket home, maybe Nebraska has an incredible season like you're kind of laying out. And if you beat Wisconsin and you have 8 wins, then Black Friday means something as far as being in the top 25. It means something as far as really taking a step forward, but it's not going to be your season on the line. I just think that there's quite a possibility that we're all feeling 50-50 on Scott Frost going into Black Friday. And again, that with so many different ways for it to turn out, it might not be that case, but I think that that's going to be a possibility, and that's not necessarily, as much as the season was so difficult, and you couldn't get a win there in a 3-9 season. That's at least the one thing about 3-7 or being at 3-7 is that the season's a failure. There's you can always already write the story for the season regardless of what happens in the final 2 games. I don't think it's going to be quite the case with an easier schedule, with a couple of the additions that they've made. I think that this is a team that's going to be fighting for a bowl game, and it might come down to that game. And I hate the 1-game scenarios. I'd hate to make a long-term decision based off one game again, where it can come down to a player missing a kick or a fumble, and it doesn't have a whole lot to do with the coach at that point in time. But 5 years in, you've got to beat Iowa eventually. You've got to beat Wisconsin. And it with the schedule, I think it could play out that we're all sitting there wondering, and maybe even having our decisions made. A lot of us, probably might have our decisions made going into that game, but the powers that be, the people that are talking about the unspecified metrics, maybe that's going to be on the line. And it's got to be eventually. Again, I don't care what your record is. You got to beat some of these Big Ten West teams. And Nebraska's just been beaten down by Iowa and Wisconsin so much that now the focus is almost underneath them. Right now, it's like, well, they at least have to beat Minnesota and Purdue then. Well, at some point, you've got to fight toward the top. You can't be trying to, okay, well, now we hope we're in the middle of the Big Ten West this year.
Right.
Let's take, at some point, you've got to beat the top. And it's been 10 years this year for Wisconsin. And since 2014 for Iowa, these aren't overwhelming programs. These aren't programs that out-recruit you. They're programs that outwork you.
Right.
That they outdevelop you, and they've been doing it for years. But again, year 5 in your program, I know you've made a lot of changes. You're your 3rd offensive coordinator. This is not going as was projected, but you hope that what you saw in this past year's draft class was not a combination of the COVID year and, a couple freak athletes and Cam Jurgens and Cam Taylor-Britt. You hope that its development is finally starting to work, and we're going to see a few more 2nd-round picks next year. I don't know who those guys are. That's why I kind of have a doubt that that's the case. I think last year's team was more talented than you're going to have this year. But I think that also has to be taken into account is, what would this year's team do against last year's schedule? That sort of thing. Because they could have a better record and be a worse team.
That is something to think about, because at the end of the day, it is very possible that, like you said, some of these kids can emerge and someone can just turn the whole party out, and the whole program can be setting foundations that could lead to a few years in a solid run. It can happen. So we just don't know how that's going to all play out. But I think Bob, the builder, believes that they're building something unique and different, not indifferent, but different there in Huskerland. And so I'm going to believe that, looking at the schedule, that there's some tremendous possibilities out there that if the ball bounces the right way, if the kick goes a little bit further, if you're a little bit more disciplined than the opponent, if your heart in the trenches is just staunch, and you see just poise and presence, at the quarterback position, and you seeing just wide receiver depth that in any given night, you're not looking at one guy. You might, very similar to what Ohio State had. It could be Njigba. It could be Olave. It could be, what I'm saying?
I don't know if you have 3 first-round picks, but
right. But yeah,
but at least choices, weapons to worry about. Yeah,
in any given game. So you it's not anything that you can game plan on or look at. There's teams out there where, like with Bell, who was at Purdue, you were like, we're over-undering him, or we're shadowing, and there's scheming you could do for guys like that. I'm thinking if they have that type of team this year where you just can't rely, or there's just no, you remember that show, Bach? You are the weakest link. Goodbye. That there's none of that. You might be too young to remember that.
No, I remember that.
The weakest link, right?
Yeah.
As long as you don't have that to where somebody can just look at film and say, we are exposing that. And if we see that coverage, we are audibling into that. And we are getting what we are looking for. Where guys can do it, where it's just one of those things where you've got to dip, chump, you've got to fight, you've got to, each yard is going to be tough. And it's a bend, don't break type of scenario. There can't be just big gash plays, 60 here, 70 there, 80-yard bombs. You got to make them work for it. And I think if they do that, then they'll be okay.
Yeah.
With the schedule that they have.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's more than anything. And that's why I like the idea of having an unspecified whatever it was that Trev Alberts said, where it's not like, hey, get to 7 wins and you're safe. It's more like we especially Trev. I've played football at the highest level, coached, have been around all this, and I guess not coach it, but been around and all that. But so it's use your eyes. You can tell if the football program, if the football is good, and specifically for this team, you don't have a big senior class. So if you do have a look like like you've got a good football team, whether you win 7 or 8 or hard to say it. I don't know if you'll have a good with this record. It'd be hard, with the schedule, I should say, it'd be hard to really be convinced if that 6-6 is too good. But if you go 7-6 with the bowl game, that's a step forward. And again, it would be a step that you would believe would project into the next year. If you just kind of, still have all the same discipline problems, because here's the thing. I don't care what, I don't know what the ceiling was for the team last year, but I think that the coaching, after seeing it several years again, I think that roster was as good as the best roster Nebraska's had since 2014, maybe 2013, when you have the 2 second-round picks there as well. So I mean, if you want to do it off that criteria, you can do it there. But in any case, Pelini was getting 9 wins with those type of rosters. I think Nebraska could have got, with that schedule, 7, 8, 9 wins with that roster. The coaching held it back, and and maybe part of it, and it's always the elephant in the room is, and maybe not so much, because a lot of people are pretty vocal about it, how much of it's the quarterback, because you need that position to make plays in those moments if you're going to be in those big games. And sometimes he made huge plays to keep Nebraska in the game, but all too often, when it was on the line, there was a mistake right around the corner. And so somebody kind of points that out too, is what if Nebraska gets 5 or 6 wins, but Kansas State gets 10 with Adrian Martinez?
Ooh.
Well, that'd be a bad look.
Ooh, that would be a terrible look.
Yeah. I'll cheer for Adrian. I will cheer for every game.
That would be a bad look.
But it's not going to reflect well on Nebraska.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we got to take a break right now. We got to go, and we're going to come back with Hitting Hardwood with Strick and talk a little bit of NBA playoffs. Luka Doncic made a statement and backed it up. We'll come back and talk a little bit about that. But unfortunately, James Harden, the beard, and Joel Embiid fall short, way short of the mark. We'll come back and talk a little bit about that after this on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, on the block. Peace.
Real quick, this is my Luka Doncic impression going into break.
If you want to stop me, you're going to have to kill me!
And that's what he meant. And that's what he said. He said what he said on the block. We'll be right back.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Gus Cottle. First round results of the Class A State Boys Soccer Tournament. Gretna defeated Millard South 4-1. Lincoln East defeated Lincoln Southwest 3-0. Omaha Westside defeated Creighton Prep 1-0 in a shootout. Omaha Bryan defeated Papillion La Vista South 3-2 in a shootout. In the Class A Girls Soccer Tournament, Gretna defeated Elkhorn South 1-0 in overtime. Lincoln Southwest defeated Lincoln East 3-0. Lincoln Southeast defeated Omaha Westside 1-0 in overtime. And Omaha Marion defeated Lincoln Pius X 5-3. The boys and girls Class A state tournaments will continue on Friday. This has been your Southeast Community College High School Minute. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Beatrice Bakery. They ship cakes all over the country. True story. But take a look inside their shop and you'd have no idea. This is a Nebraska product through and through. Not some massive production plant. Local people making delicious cake just for you. So go see them in their new storefront location in downtown Beatrice. Grab some grandma's fruit cake, some chocolate rum cake, or my favorite, the turtle nut cake. And say hi to Rick and the crew. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
2-1 count, and that's a deep drive into the gap. Smith rounding first base. It's a stand-up double. Hey, Nick, speaking of doubles, did you know Wings and Rings has 2 ways to enjoy their next-level food? Rico, we're in the middle of a game. The game can wait, Nick. One way is to stop by one of their Lincoln locations. They have 2 great locations at O Street, Meridian Park, and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. You said 2 ways. What's the other way? You can order online at wingsandrings.com.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's Favorites.
Hey, it's Nelson. We all know life gets a little hectic. You're just looking for that right amount of balance for stress relief with your busy lifestyle while trying to not break the bank. That's why you gotta stop by the newest Caterpillar Vapes location right here in Lincoln, 2601 North 11th Street. The Caterpillar team is made up of people just like you, wanting the best product at the best price. They can walk you through the largest selection in town, answer any questions, and find you that perfect balance. First-time customers get 50% off their entire purchase. Stop in and see for yourself. For more, find them on Facebook or online at CaterpillarVapes.com.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on Hitting the Hardwood. I'm going to talk a little bit about some NBA playoffs. There were some elimination games that were on display yesterday. Looked like it was the Mavs. Had a tough run at it. Psych. They actually did what they were supposed to do. This series, the home team has pretty much taken care of business where they were supposed to. In some of those games, there was blowouts. And some of those games, they were close. But ultimately, the home team has pretty much held serve. Struggling night for Devin Booker. 6 for 17, 35%. And they held him to no threes, which that's where he excels. He excels from being able to create space or get to his three or coming off DHOs and getting it done. But he did, do what he had to do. He rebounded. Not many assists, but goodness gracious. 8 TOs. And I'm not talking about Terrell Owens. 8 turnovers. My goodness. And then that on the road, that's tough to overcome from a person that handles the ball as much as he does. But there, on the other side, it just seems to me, Bach, and I'm going to let you elaborate on this, because it seems to me that whoever's playing at home, teams that have the depths of both of these teams, it just seems that their secondary or third tier guys just seem to really step up when it is time and when it is needed. And that's what we've been seeing in this series. And again, you have, like, for example, Reggie Bullock, who was non-existent in the away game. He comes back home and he's 7 for 15, 5 for 11 from 3, and he has almost 20 points. Luka does what he does. Jalen Brunson, up and down, but been a pretty consistent. And we've been a no-show from Spencer Dinwiddie, basically, in the last 2 games, and now he comes up big. So you can't really figure it out. One of the games, Kleberg goes, like 6 or some threes. They're just kind of topsy-turvy. But, what do you think about the way that this is all playing out?
Yeah, it seems to be and this happens a lot in the NBA playoffs, is that kind of the role players step up when they're at home. They can kind of feed off the energy of the crowd. It's like you just feel comfortable. You played, however many games, 50 games that year, or whatever it is. So, it happens often, and it's happened especially in this series. So when you watch a game like the Dallas game last night, it was like, man, Dallas is, if you just watch that game, man, Dallas is way better. But the Phoenix has done that when they're at home. So, obviously they're going to need Doncic to get going. I'm cheering for him. I'm cheering like heck for him, because I love to see this guy. I like that they have depth, but they don't have a number 2, right? I mean, Jalen Brunson, is probably the number 2. Spencer Dinwiddie was brought in to be the number 2. Hasn't kind of been that. Either way, those guys aren't number 2s on championship teams, but it's kind of similar to the run that he had with Slovenia in the Olympics, where like he's the guy and he has to take over. And it was incredible in the Olympics, and it's been incredible now. Again, he didn't have a playoff win until, I'm talking about Doncic here, didn't have a playoff win as far as the series until this year, but it took till Game 7 for the Clippers to knock them off in each of the past 2 years. And remember, last year the Clippers went to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, that was a legit contender. So I mean, it takes everything to get that man off the court in a series, and it's just incredible to watch. I just because the way the series has gone, you almost have to lean Phoenix at home. But the better story is Dallas. But the other thing too is don't sleep on Phoenix just because where they are now. They were one of the better teams, as proven by they had a 2-0 lead on Milwaukee going into the finals last year. And I'll keep saying this because it's frustrating me as a Celtics fan, is that these last 2 years, I like the Bucks, right? They were good. I like Phoenix last year. I like the Heat and the Lakers. They were a fun bubble tournament. Those aren't super teams. There's this era right now without super teams for teams that have been building, or, you're talking about your, in certain eras, it's just, this is the gap of opportunity, and it's happening again this year. I don't think any of these teams could necessarily compete with those Golden State teams. I don't think that they would beat the Spurs dynasty that they had. I don't think they'd beat Kobe and Shaq. I don't know if they'd beat, the 08 Celtics, all those great teams that we've seen in the last 15 years. I don't think that these last couple of years you've had great teams, but it's allowed opportunities for teams to rise up and take advantage of that moment. Phoenix, although I don't think, again, that they're as great as some of those teams that we've seen in the past, they're no joke, and they're proving that once again this year. But I'd love to see Dallas get it done. Luka Doncic, it's even funny to watch him because he flexes and he'll talk trash, and DeAndre Ayton even got a stare down. That's something that they need to work on, though, is what's a tech and what's not, because they allow a lot of trash talking. They allow a lot of showboating, and it's fun, and go ahead and allow it as long as it's not getting to feistiness and fisticuffs and stuff like that. But then they're just very spotty on, like, DeAndre Ayton didn't say a word. He elbowed Luka unintentionally. The game was over by then, so it didn't really matter. But and then give him a tech. He didn't even say anything. He just looked down at him, as you would if you elbowed somebody in the face. If not, just stare down at him, which maybe is what they said. Yeah, but even just to see, like, what just happened there? How's he doing? And he got a tech for it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Listen, that's just the way the league is right now, because it's such in the referee's hands and discretion as to what's what and what's to be looked at or considered. I think it's crazy. Like you're saying, at least have some consistency about how you're going to do it. Either eliminate it or allow it. I mean, there's the referees in the NBA are gifted, and even when I was going through training and G League training, it was not necessarily how you ref the game, how you manage the game. It's how you call the grays. How good can you call the grays? And that's really what it's about there. It's not necessarily cut and dry situations. You have to kind of look beyond whatever the foul is or whatever the situation is. And sometimes some referees have panties in their bunch, and they have the wedgies in their underwear.
Yeah.
And they kind of get caught into it a little bit. And so that's the part that I hate. But understanding this, that Luka Doncic, right? He has his first victory in an elimination game. I think that's an important thing. Like you said, he's faced these in multiple times now. And as a young superstar out there, he's come up short in some game sevens, and he's got another one.
He's 23 years old.
It's another one that he's about to get into, and this one is to take you to the next level. And so we'll see how he fares, but ultimately it's got to be like it was. He's got to get the help.
And again, I have nothing against the Suns, but I do have a lot against CP3, so I'm cheering against the Suns as well. Sorry, Suns fans.
So we'll move quickly, and obviously, Miami.
Yeah.
Miami, Jimmy Butler. What do you do?
Tobias Harris over me.
Tobias Harris over me.
The process not looking good right now.
Daryl Morey is he's looking real. It's troubling because they've got decisions to make. James Harden has a decision to make. James Harden can opt into a contract that's, going to pay him a large bag over the next year. Or he can opt out and I think get like 227. It's either 207 or 227 over the next max deal. Daryl Morey, I think the Philadelphia fans will stalk his house if he pays him a max deal after what just happened and transpired in this series. I think the worst case scenario, run it back, allow him, otherwise let him walk into the great sunset.
Yeah. And almost hope for it.
Yeah. I mean, I would venture to say, let that be somebody else's problem, because right now they're looking at me real crazy. Let him just slide off into the great good night and walk out the door.
Now, we'll say this. They do need more help around those guys. There's a few different things. They need more help around
Tobias Harris over me?
Yeah, Tobias Harris should have stuck with Jimmy Butler. That's pretty obvious. Jimmy Butler deserves a lot of credit because, he did have that long run with Chicago, but then, the Timberwolves and the 76ers, people were thinking, this is not a guy you can build around. And remember, when he chose to go to Miami, this is what I think he deserves the most credit. He was basically, for a few weeks, few days there, are you going to LA? Are you going to, there were different scenarios where it's like, go win a championship with LeBron. So it was like, okay, he could be the third piece in all these super teams. And this was the era of the super team. But that summer he decided to bet on himself and choose Miami. And when he did, I thought, that's a use. I mean, we won't even hear from Miami. We won't even think about
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler. And then since then, he's made the finals once and now has the number one team following his back. He's putting up 30 point per games, left and right. And especially that game, you could tell kind of took it personal. And the 76ers are now just in no man's land. But, I mean, to be fair as well, I don't know if they'd be a lot better with the Ben Simmons contract holding them down either.
Right.
So, I mean, they were in a tough situation that they put themselves in by drafting Ben Simmons. But I don't know.
Now you really only got 1 year to have to deal with, as opposed to.
But for Harden, it's done. He's not a number one.
Right.
It's very clear. He scored more than 30 points once with the 76ers. So he's not going to be a max player, and he doesn't. I mean, it's the same thing as always. He didn't play defense. He didn't box out, that sort of thing. But he took 2 shots in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Simmons would have done that for you. So I sometimes you can call him a ball hog or not doing enough. In these moments in the playoffs, it's repetitive. It's year by year. He did this in Houston where he'd shrink when they needed him the most, and he did it once again, and you just can't rely on that guy. So I don't see a max contract coming for him. So at some point, I know there's all these excuses and stuff, but at some point it does have to somewhat fall on Embiid that the 76ers are not winning a whole lot of playoff series. Maybe it falls on Doc. We'll see if Doc gets the blame for it in this offseason. But somebody's going to get it, and certainly James Harden's going to get it. But
yeah. So here's a quick note before we take a break to think about Jimmy Butler is this. Jimmy Butler's offensive game, where most would consider to have an offensive flaw. Among 217 players with at least 200 field goal attempts from outside the paint in the regular season, only Jalen Suggs at 32.9% and Anthony Davis say that. Anthony Davis at 34.5% have a lower effective field goal percentage on those shots than the Heat star, who is at 36.9. So in essence, he has been basically playing above his pay grade based on the numbers, the analytics, right? He's averaged 27.5 points in this series. He shot 5 for 16 in game 1 and averaged 30 points on 54% shooting over the last 5 games. And capping that with a 32-point game in game 6. So this is another last thing, and we're going to go to break. We thank you guys again for tuning in to the On the Block show here on The Ticket. But this is what PJ Tucker said. PJ Tucker said, I didn't know how good Jimmy was until I got here. I thought he was a good player. I just didn't think he was that good. I thought he aight.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you think about Jimmy Butler, but he just seems to show up when it matters. And you people would have said basically the bubble was a fluke.
Yeah.
But it's obviously we're finding that that's not the case because they're pretty much got a lot of the same team other than PJ Tucker. And I think that was a big find for the Heat to land him. I thought it was dumb for Milwaukee to let him go, but great landing down there in Miami.
Well, and 2 things real quickly too is that Kyle Lowry still hasn't been 100% or hasn't been playing.
Yeah.
He's kind of the one part about that. But you lost Goran Dragic, you put in Kyle Lowry, maybe an upgrade there, so that he could be slightly better. Also, Victor Oladipo probably helps a little bit there. They're pretty stacked. But the other thing with the 76ers, you do have to remember Joel didn't play in 2 of these games in this series. So again, maybe he will avoid too much of the talk there. But again, at some point, if he's the process and the process isn't turning, no matter. I mean, he's had some guys now there. He's had Jimmy there. It might not be what you want, but Jimmy and Harden and Ben as his number 2 guys, and they're not making it to Eastern Conference Finals. At some point, if you want to be MVP, which he's been very vocal about how there's the world's against him and all this stuff about not getting MVP, you got to have some success in the postseason.
And as we close out this segment of the block, Game 6. I'm sorry. Yeah. There's more climbouts.
Yeah.
There's more closeout games. Game 6s. Both for the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Warriors without Ja Morant once again. And another closeout for Giannis. And the Milwaukee Bucks get an opportunity to shut the door in Game 6 Going to be tough to do it, but we're going to be able to watch it tonight. We'll come back and talk about it right here on The Block, but we got to take a break on The Block here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for, just remember we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Hondas for qualified buyers.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
2-1 count, and that's a deep drive into the gap. Smith rounding first base. It's a stand-up double. Hey, Nick, speaking of doubles, did you know Wings and Rings has 2 ways to enjoy their next-level food? Rico, we're in the middle of a game. The game can wait, Nick. One way is to stop by one of their Lincoln locations. They have 2 great locations at O Street, Meridian Park, and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. You said 2 ways. What's the other way? You can order online at wingsandrings.com.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's favorites.
I present the fruitcake. long the subject of jokes, ridicule, derision. But did the fruitcake accept its place in the culinary totem pole? No! The fruitcake sought to rise to its full potential at Beatrice Bakery. Premium nuts, high-quality fruits, and the delectable trio of brandy, bourbon, and rum. Grandma's fruitcake is no punchline, but a decadent treat that packs a punch of flavor.
Check out Grandma's fruitcake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Finishing out the block. On the block, we're finishing out this segment. We're going to just kind of do a little continuation on the games that will be happening on tonight. The series continues. Phoenix. No, I'm tripping. Is it?
Well, Phoenix will not continue tonight, though. They'll continue.
But they got
they got Game 7.
It's
Nothing
going
better
to
than
be
Game 7.
Milwaukee.
Yep.
And Boston.
Yeah, that's Game 1 tonight.
And then that's right. We've got the Warriors.
Yeah, and the Grizz.
Warriors and the Grizz. They're 3-2 as well, right? There's a closeout game that's going to be happening. We've had 2 blowouts. We've had 2 close ones. But at the end of the day, these questions will come to you. Will the Warriors experience a prevail? How do the Grizzlies continue to adjust without Ja Morant? Because we saw when they made the adjustment the way that they play, and when they haven't made the adjustment, how they weren't able to have that go-to guy. The third thing that you have to look for in this series is rebounds and turnovers will definitely be a key. And which Jordan Poole will show up or not show up.
Yeah.
That's where I think this series lands.
Yeah, and obviously this is a Game 6. If you're the Grizzlies, you have to win 3 in a row. You got 1 out of the way. Maybe you would have wished you would have kept some of those points and some of that for another night. But in any case, you blew them out, absolutely. I think you see a different story here as they go back to the Bay Area. It's always tough to beat a team there. But if you're Golden State, you do have to feel a little bit of pressure, right? I mean, you don't want to travel back to Memphis, which, somehow those teams are in the same conference geographically. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But in any case, it's a long travel, and, it's a difficult place. I mean, if they get back to Memphis, all bets are off. I don't care if it's the 3rd game in a row that they'd have to beat them. Ultimately, I still like, if Golden State can stay in this game, for them to have the go-to players down the stretch. But at least Memphis showed that if they can get it going, maybe they have some options there. It just looks so futile, their effort in their last close game that they played, as it was just like they didn't even know who to go to. I mean, Dylan Brooks was just taking bad shots. Jaren Jackson forced one up. So I still don't trust them in crunch time, and that's why I got Golden State closing it out tonight.
It's easier to shoot, I tell everybody, when you're up than it is when that game is tight. It busts pipes. The last series is the one that you're, I'm sure, looking to, Milwaukee and Boston. I ain't going to even say too much about it. I'm going to let you get on it. But this game is going to happen 7:30 tonight on ESPN. And will Giannis have that eye of the tiger and go for the 50-piece and close it out like he did against Phoenix in Game 6?
Well, I don't want to be the one that bets against my Celtics and then has to, eat crow on my own team. But I don't have a great feeling. I'm a little bit worried. They gave away, maybe not even just for tonight, but just for the series overall. I feel like Boston had 2 games they should have won that they gave away. And usually you're not going to win a series like that. All that being said, at least I feel like Boston's been the better team most nights. Again, it hasn't led to win, so just make me feel great. But I could definitely see this series going 7. So I'll at least cheer for the Celtics tonight.
All right, that closes us out here on the block. We'll come back on tomorrow. Who we got after the show today, Bach?
Well, not tomorrow. We'll come back Monday.
Oh shoot! It says. Look at that. I'm just not so used to even being in the studio that I'm thinking there's a tomorrow.
So long.
We'll see you. Have a good weekend.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, some early clouds.